Evidently, I didn't set the intro. This is Tim, this New York Giants Trade Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC, brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. It's FanDuel.com, the number one sportsbook in America. What's going on, everyone? It's Wednesday afternoon. Time to talk about a little bit of the football New York Giants. Why? Because we need to talk about this offense. We need to talk about the salary cap. We need to talk about a little bit of everything today. I see Greg and Mike Lee and everyone is already sitting there in the chat having themselves a good afternoon. What's up? Big Chris says, hit that like button for the best Giant content, YouTube content creating out there. Well, thank you, Big Brett. Thank you, my friend. Nagy and Callahan says Mike Lee will have their work cut out for them. Dart to throw accurately past 10 yards. I figured I could finally talk about that. I figured I could finally address the elephant in the room with Jaxson Dart, the Matt Nagy. Well, it's more of it's going to be the Matt Nagy offense over Callahan. So we have to look at it from that perspective, and I think we could talk about that now a little bit more in depth and with a little bit more of an understanding. Big Charlie says, what's up? What's going on, Charlie? Joe says, I smashed the like button because Tim's hair is back on point today. I actually think the hair is worse today. I truly do think the hair is worse today, but that's all right. That's all right. We also have to talk about the Giants salary cap because can we say there's a salary cap issue? I don't think we can say there's a salary cap issue, but, everyone has their opinion and assessment on the salary cap, but a lot of people have their opinion assessment on salary cap and they're wrong. The Giants have about $6 million in cap space, and that's $6 million in cap space without the Mooney contract, without the Darnell contract. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. We don't have this amount of cap space that people think we have. We're finally getting some of the full details on the contracts. Like the cap numbers, like Greg Newsom's cap numbers actually is $8 million, only $3 million is guaranteed. The Isaiah Likely cap number is only $6.9 million. Guys, I'm not using a fake account to do anything. I'm actually looking on this side, so I look at the other monitor. So, and I do have to answer some text messages later, so I'm just letting you know. If I look down, there's a reason why. Isaiah Likely is at $6.9 million, which is actually a good number, but it goes up to, I believe, about 14. The Ellie Moore... I can't call him Ellie Moore Fudd anymore. The Mr. Jermaine Illuminor. And also I have to call him Jermaine Illuminor because of the fact that when he came in to sign his contract and do everything, he had on a double-breasted suit. That's return of the Mac, baby. You also have Tremaine Edmonds only costing us $5.56 million. You have Micah McFadden at 3.4. You have Patrick Ricard costing us 2.79. We have Darius Washington at 2.6. We have Calvin Austin at 1.5. Pinnock is 1.2. Aaron Stinney is 1.2. Gunnar Olszewski, 1.2. Jason Sanders is only 1.2. Caleb Murphy, 1.5. Isaiah Hodgkins, 1.5. Ryan Miller, 1 million. Evan Neal, 1 million. Art Green, 1 million. So that is a and we also have the cap adjustment, of course, for Brian Burns, which is 21.83, and also for Devin Singletary. And everyone, I kept trying to explain this to everyone in Singletary. He actually took less money, so they cut his salary in half. So he's only accounting for 2.5. Everyone kept telling me it's only $1 million. Oh, I know it's not only $1 million. So right now, and we don't have the Mooney contract on the book, so we have about $6.5 million. So some things are going to have to be done. You lied to me. What is it? Yeah, y'all lied to me. Return of the man. What's up, Big Trenton? Big Trenton's in his house as well. Of course, we also have the slider in here. Evan says, what's your thoughts about the Darnell Mooney signing? Your hair was hold on one second. Your hair was too tall yesterday. Well, I didn't have power. I didn't have my blow dryer. I couldn't find my accoutrements. But thank you. I like the Mooney signing. When he came available, he was actually someone I thought, we did it on the stream. And I always love when people tell me you should remember that you say a lot of this stuff on the stream. I mentioned on the stream that he is a perfect fit for the Matt Nagy offense because he ran in the Matt Nagy offense, and his best season was with the Bears in his second year under the Matt Nagy offense. I think they went 12-4 that year. He's Darius Slayton without the accoutrements of the drops. Plain and simple. That's what he is. and he's going to fit in. He's going to fit in swimmingly. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today, but I also want to get to I saw another comment in there. I want to talk about, even though we're signing all these vertical threats, you have to take a look at the offense that Matt Nagy ran, what he likes to run, and you kind of have to take a look at how that offense is a cornerstone or a key component in an offense that 1994, which was run to perfection, which the Matt Nagy offense is based off of, and that's the 1994 George Seifert offense. The 49er offense that crushed the league, crushed the scoring, crushed everything, gave Steve Young his MVP and his first Super Bowl win. And the Matt Nagy design, and we're going to go over this, is in tandem with that George Seifert style offense. I love Trenton. Yo. But let's see here. And we also get here. Why can't we sign Calais Campbell, DJ Redder, Greg Van Roten, an interior lineman, $6 million in the fantasy land people have and it can happen. Well, we're gonna do a couple more. We're not gonna do any more restructures. No, I should lie. We're not gonna do any extensions. I've said it before. The contracts 4 days ago for Paulson, Adebo, and Holland were just guaranteed. So the Giants can convert like 80% of that salary into a bonus, because bonuses are automatically guaranteed, but this money's already guaranteed. So all you have to do is convert it into a signing bonus, or just convert it into a bonus. And you kind of go from there. And that's going to help alleviate a lot of your cap problems without having, hold on, I got to send a message here. I'm not using a burner account. I'm literally just sending a message to my wife because she's working in the office today. So just thought I would know. If I look down, that's what I'm doing. But let's see here. What does she say? Okay. So we're sitting at $6 million. And this is what I tried to explain to people yesterday. A lot of these contracts, as everyone talks about the amount of cap space, we have $100 million in cap space in 27. Well, with these contracts that have now hit the books, and you got to remember, we backloaded these deals again because of our salary cap situation. That $110 million in cap space we had in 27 is now $50 million. People need to remember this. That is now $50 million because we now have those other Isaiah Likely next year is going to cost us 17.6. Jermaine Illuminor next year is going to cost us 17.5. Tremaine Edmonds is going to cost us $16 million next year. We also have the $12 million on the books, almost 13 for Darius Slayton. There's the 5th-year option of 12.6 for Deonte Banks. We're not picking that up. But that $100 million that everyone kept telling me about, we have $100 million in 27. No, and I kept trying to explain, the contracts aren't even on the books yet. Now they're hitting the books. So that $110 million down is already down to 50, which is 22nd in the league. Shut up. What's up, Maverick? Hello, I'm wondering who the Giants will draft at 5 again. Tim, I am down for trading down. I do like the Styles kid. It's also thinking the Giants might draft a guard. We've already talked about Spencer Fano. No relation to Bono. Spencer Fano, when we had Ryan Roberts from A to Z Sports on, who is their draft expert, who is tied into the league, said the thing with Spencer Fano is right now with what people are talking about in regards to him, it's being moved to either the guard or the center position. That not a lot of teams right now are looking at Spencer Fano for a tackle position. They think he is going to excel more in the interior portion of the line, or even, which would still be the center, would even in the center position. So I'm not taking a guard at 5. Unless, to Slider's point, you trade down. The hope is that Greg Van Roten comes back. That is when you are placing your hope on Evan Neal and Greg Van Roten, you got some problems. And don't forget, guys, and I think people still forget this a little bit. John Runyon's still on the team. Unless we moved on from John Runyon and nobody told me, John Runyon's still on. John Runyon at $11.7 million, which is taking up 4% of our cap, is not a terrible option to keep on this team at guard. He's 29 years old. He's not athletic. We all know that. He's not a monster in the run game, and he's an average pass blocker. But you still have John Runyon here. So until we move on from him, we're potentially only having to fill one starting guard position, and then look for the our swing tackles and the rest of our backups. So there is a potential, like I said, that John Runyon is still here, for the remainder of the season. Maybe they convert some of his salary into a bonus, and that will lower his cap number, and it'll also give us a little bit more cash to play with. But I think the big solutions for the Giants after the Darnell Mooney sign is done. But we do have to talk about Jaxson Dart. We do have to talk about the Giants offense. Let's see here. Further up, will they trade Kayvon Thibodeau to get into the third round? It would make sense. It would. You have basically Kayvon Thibodeau on you want to say a prove it deal because he's on his 5th-year option, making 14.7. He's never really been healthy outside of one season. He had one big season with 11.5 sacks, and 6 of those came in 3 games. So the other 5 sacks, the 5.5 sacks he had came in the remaining 11 games. And 2 of those 6 sacks came in the Seattle game, where he had a sack in the beginning of the game and at the very end of the game when the game was already over. I don't see, if you're going to run a true 3-4, even if it's a hybrid 3-4, where are you going to put Kayvon Thibodeau or Brian Burns? Where are you going to put Kayvon Thibodeau or Abdul Carter? Because Brian Burns is going to be a defensive end. One of these guys has got to move into the linebacker spot, especially unless you're going to play them in a rotational basis. But neither one of them has a different skill set. Both Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter have very similar skill sets. So it's not even like you can say, well, one guy's a great run blocker. The other guy is a great guy in regards to, stopping the run. And the other guy's a good pass rusher. No, you don't have that. So moving on from Kayvon, if he has a good season or an average season, are you really going to give him like $25 to $30 million for an edge rusher when you're already paying Brian Burns next year? His cap number next year is $44 million. No, it would make sense if you could get a 3rd and a 6th for Kayvon Thibodeau. And I would like to see it be a higher 3rd. I make that move. I make that move twice of the week. I make that move every day of the week and twice on Sunday, because of the fact that you don't need. And also, you're gonna free up $14 million of guaranteed money. So why wouldn't that make sense for you? And if someone, like I said, if someone's willing to give me a 3rd rounder and maybe a 6, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm running and making that trade. Let's see. It's like Giants fans have no idea how it works, and it's pretty scary. Evan says the restructures were made this year, hit the break books next year, so we lose that money. Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain to everyone, Evan, like weeks ago, and everyone's like, "Oh, we just did all this, and it's only going to count as this." No, you're still pushing some of that money into the following seasons, and none of the money had hit the books yet. Philosopher, what's up? I'm all for the speedy wide receivers. I'm all for the speedy wide receivers too. But what's up, Mr. Rodriguez? I tried an Uncrustable for the first time, and I hate Joe Shane even more now. Listen, we ate an Uncrustable on the show a couple Sundays ago. That thing was the most disgusting thing that I ever ate. And then everyone tells me, you ate the wrong one. Well, what was the fucking one was the right one? Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know the grape or the cherry or something was supposed to be better. I don't know. Let's see here. I had another good comment that I just saw a second ago, but I want to talk about what I want to talk about. Let's see here. But let's quickly just get into. Here we go. Here we go. Slider pushing money down to the next season. So Tim has termed kicking the can. No, don't use a term that I've used. Because if you use a term that I use somewhere else, you're fraudulent. Just throwing that out there. I'm sorry. I had to look down. I'm sorry. I have something on my keyboard and My phone's all the way over there. We got the big funky town. We got the funky town. That's also Big Don. Don, did you get the war bond? Because I hear there's a big upgrade or patch coming out on Friday. Oh, yeah, and I'm level 25 now. Just so you know. I didn't do it. My son did it. I like kicking tans. I'm in deep shit. You aren't in deep shit now, dude. You just fucked it up for everybody. Now you're going to say that somewhere else, and then someone's going to blame you for not being you. It's terrible, man. It's fucking terrible. But I do want to talk about the Giants offense. The Giants offense going back to Jason Garrett. Oh, what's that, Tim? We go. I gotta go to the super chat because all super chats go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital or Children's Hospital Philadelphia, either which one you want to call it. And also we give away the lovely Don. That's why Don always does it for the kids for the membership. So I do enjoy that new people get to try the membership. Tim, because it is $1.99. Tim, you should we go styles or love? Ant 1776. I'm going to tell you this. I wasn't on the Sonny Styles train at all. I really wasn't. I wasn't on that. I wasn't on that track. And then a bunch of people brought him up on the show. And then I watched his tape, and I don't think Reese is going to be there, but I think Sonny Styles fits I think he's going to fit more what the Giants want to do defensively, especially with his athleticism. He's going to be a 3-down linebacker. He was a safety for a bunch of years. He's only got 2 years of experience as a linebacker, which I'm fine with. Some people think he's going to be like, well, he could be a quasi guy. No, I don't want him as a quasi guy. I want him to, and I kind of do want, I lied. I kind of do want him as a quasi guy. I want him as a quasi inside, outside linebacker. And I think he could do both. Love, Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, elusive back, 3-down guy, can do so many different things. Could help. Hey, what's up, Big James? James Stein's in his house. Can help propel the Giants offense. Can be that vertical backfield threat and almost a Darren Sproles or Tariq Cohen type role. Sorry. Could be a Tariq Cohen type role. They're both great picks. And if it's me, I'm still going Sonny Styles, because I think I have enough in the backfield right now, and I could grab a guy, a speedster later in the draft, in like the 6th or the 7th round. So right now, I think your most pressing need is going to be a Sonny Styles. But let's think about the Giants offense for a second. Let's talk about Matt Nagy for a second. Matt Nagy, if you go back to his time in Chicago, you go back to what he did and you take a look at the offense he ran. I actually took some notes. Yes, I know when you go professional, you have to have notes, but I lost my notes. Fuck. How the hell did I lose my notes? Okay. Well, Matt Nagy ran this offense from 18 to 21. We'll talk about this briefly. It was based off of, or it's origins are from the 1994 George Seifert offense, historic offense. Now, a lot of people will say that Matt Nagy's offense was a hybrid system, a hybrid spread. Now, it relied on West Coast elements, but it was a spread system. And it was really, if you take a look at it, influenced by Andy Reid even more. And on paper, it's a great way, and it's a quarterback-friendly system that is basically required execution and the right personnel to break it down, because it's a timing and rhythm passing. You're going to have to, Jaxson Dart is going to have to do a lot of pre-snap reads, which is why I wanted to go out and get a Tyler Linderbaum. You're going to create mismatches, and that's why you're going out and getting these fast, speedy wide receivers, and wide receivers, and it's all influenced on Matt Nagy getting the ball out quickly. It's high percentage throws, which Jaxson Dart is known for, but you have to put the ball in the position of Matt Nagy's offense where it creates yak, which is the yards after the catch, of course. You're going to use motion. You're going to try to confuse the defenses. Basically, we've said it before. The short passes are going to act as an extension of the run game. It's going to, if you look at what he did in Chicago, Matt Nagy, it was a heavy spread concept, a lot of 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running backs, frequent shotgun, and you're going to split your wideouts to try to stretch the defense, not vertically. This is the concept that people are missing about the Matt Nagy offense. Yes, you are going to get vertical threats, but the wides are going to be split out to stretch the defense horizontally. You're going to do the horizontal mambo. Sometimes you go vertical.
That's what she said.
Oh, my soundboard's too loud, so we lost power and everything got fucked up. But that's the concept of the offense. And this is why I'm not worried about the inability at times for Jaxson Dart to throw deep. Because, like I said, think about this for a second. You're going to rely on quick passes, getting the ball out as quickly as possible, creating spacing and mismatches. It's going to be timing. It's going to be rhythm. It's going to be 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, frequent shotgun formations. And it's going to be designed to stretch the defense horizontally, which is going to open up what? The middle of the field. You're going to do a lot of pre-snap motion. You're going to see a lot of jet. You're going to see a lot of orbit. You're going to see so many different things. Now you're going to have to, and if you're on defense, you're going to have to identify if it's going to be, if you know, you're going to have to identify so many different concepts because you can do so many different things. It's going to create advantages and mismatches, and that's going to create the yak. And like I said, it's going to be a quick passing game. You're going to rely on slants, hitches, stick routes. It's going to be a lot of RPO-based reads, which is what you want Jaxson Dart to do. And it's going to make Jaxson Dart make quick decisions, fast decisions, and avoid holding on to the ball too long. And that's what he did. And this is what he did and went to 2 playoffs with Mitchell Trubisky. Because it didn't allow Mitchell Trubisky to think. It didn't allow Mitchell Trubisky to play hero ball. It makes you go, it makes you run at a different speed. We're not talking about Kurt Warner Arena football speed, but we're talking at a different speed to run. It's going to be, like I said, you're going to see a lot of shallow crosses. You're going to create space. It's going, you know what the thing is? If done properly, you are going to push the defense into man-to-man coverage, which is going to give you a mismatch somewhere, and it's going to allow you for the easy completions underneath, which is why we got, wait for it, Isaiah Likely. This is why Darnell Mooney excelled at the system, because you created one-on-one mismatches. You created the ability to stretch the defense horizontally. And in the process of doing that, you open up the play action to deep crosses and vertical seams to the tight end. And if you have a guy that's susceptible to a double move, this type of Nagy offense is going to be perfect to create that, to create those mismatches, to do those little things, to do the things that you do. That's why you saw Allen Robinson. That's why you saw Darnell Mooney. That's why you saw guys really, really get involved. And it also allows Nagy to get creative. And if you watched a bunch of film like I did with Chicago back in 18 and 21, he uses a lot of wide receiver screens, tight end screens, jet sweeps. You know, some said in the Chicago press it was the offense was college influenced, which that was in, I think, the Sun Times, which I thought was an interesting point, because we basically ran a college offense last year. But this is what you're looking at now. In 18, it caught defenses off guard. We're not running the Mouse Davis run and shoot. We're not running the red gun over what they ran in Atlanta. You know, we're not running, you know, what they used to run with Warren Moon in Houston. We are running a system that is going to play to the strengths of our players. Now, what you need is a back like they had in David Montgomery, which is why I talk about Jeremiah Love being the guy, for potentially for the Giants to draft. Now, the issue is this. If you have a poor offensive line, you're going to have some problems. You might have some problems. And the lack of the commitment to the run is going to be detrimental if you cannot complete those short passes in the fourth quarter. This is one of the rare times that the run game is not complementing the pass game effectively. This is one of these rare occasions. But if run right, we saw going back to 1994, and where did Andy Reid come from? We saw going back to 1994 that this can be an historic offense with the right pieces. And like I said, using the RPO, that's what Jaxson Dart does. And one of the other things that if you watched Mitchell Trubisky back from 18 to 21, what Matt Nagy liked to do, wait for it. I know this is good. This is going to blow your fucking mind. Matt Nagy liked to move the pocket. We've talked about this last year with Jaxson Dart. You roll out the pocket. You roll the pocket. You keep the read simple. You move the pocket. You allow him to roll out. You allow him to bootleg. And that's how you do this. And then when you get into the red zone, you drop the quick hitters. Maybe you run a rub route. You do these things. Now, the problem is you can struggle to finish drives in this type of system because in the red zone, defense is locked down. If you have a poor quarterback who has not developed into the system, who cannot process quickly and fire downfield accurately, but we know that Jaxson Dart between -2 and 10 yards is like 72%. It's when he goes beyond 10 that we have problems. And this is the thing. You do not need in the Matt Nagy offense you don't need a back. It works better if you have like a David Montgomery, if you have a Tariq Cohen, if you have those faster built guys that you can really have as a threat, both defense, both coming out of the backfield and receiving. And like I said, this is what people get. This is what Giant fans, and I try to explain to them, this is not a true vertical offense. The Matt Nagy offense is not a true vertical offense. And we've seen, like I said, we have seen the struggles with the mighty Jaxson Dart. We've seen the struggles, and we'll pull up the struggles here a little bit. We've seen the struggles with him when he has to go over that 10-yard line. And like I said, we've seen that all of a sudden we see a bunch of white when we go over 10, but the Matt Nagy system runs. Look, and this was the Raiders game. This was the big game, but you see all the white, the red are interceptions when he goes over 10 yards. And like I said, if you take a look at this from a fundamental standpoint, this is not a vertical offense. This is a horizontal offense, which then moves vertically. You're gonna need an offensive line to protect. The offense is unpredictable. It's creative in its motion and its effectiveness. It's like I said, it's unpredictable. But the problem is this: if you don't run it correctly, and you run into a quality defense, this kind of drops. Like I said, this is nothing new. The Chiefs have been running this for years, and it's only innovated in design if you're not inconsistent in the execution. And I do think that with the right personnel and what the Giants are bringing in with Matt Nagy and the players that they're bringing in, and like I said, I think this is why Wan'Dale Robinson was not perfect for this system. This is why Isaiah likely is, because he's a big target that played 250 snaps in the slot position. He can be a tight end. He can be a slot receiver. He can play on the outside. He can run the short routes, but he also goes vertical. And it's going to rely on aggression. And the key component to this, and this is more if the Matt Nagy system, which I find interesting, is more aggressive in the downfield attacking than either the Bill Walsh or the George Seifert system. And that's what you have to look at. But you got to remember, in the Seifert system, you had Young, Rice, Taylor, Ricky Waters. You had William Floyd, which is why I'm going to get to Patrick Ricard in a second. You had Brent Jones as your tight end. You had guys that could run elite routes and could really get to the yak. Now, like I said, the fullback position is going to be in focus. And Patrick Ricard is not known for his wide receiving. His receiving is not known for his running ability. And he is going to be known to be the blocker. So while he's not going to be a William Floyd type player, he's going to have an integral part in this system. Because like I said, if you take a look at what George Seifert ran in 94, it was a lot of slants, a lot of throwing out to the flat, a lot of quick outs, and a lot of just option. And but you also have Jonathan Taylor and Jerry Rice. They ran a lot of option routes. They gave a high level route tree to the wide receivers, and the quarterback knew where they were going. But again, it's based on a ribbon and timing concept, the 3-step drop, which is going to be quick to the game. And then they would go to a 5 and a 7-step drop, if you take a look at what the 49ers ran, to have a little bit more of that deeper developing concepts in the deeper route. And it's all going to be about anticipation throws like George Seifert did. The key area in this whole thing, if you go back and look at George Seifert, is going to be between -2 and 10 yards. And then when you step out, you go out between 10 and 20, you're going to do deep ins, you're going to square in, and you're going to do crosses. And while you're doing that, you're going to be stretching the linebackers. We talked about this again. You're going to stretch the linebackers horizontally, which is then going to open up the middle of the field, which is then going to add the vertical attack. Now, what stands out in the 94 offense for Seifert, and this is one of the things I was thinking about, they went deep more. They went deep with the concept mid-season. They did a lot of go routes, deep crosses, and a lot of post routes. And they especially did this off the play action, which is what you're going to have to do in the core concept with Jaxson Dart. Now, the only difference is, while this is a pass-happy system and you're kind of using the pass game as an extension, you have to look at, sometimes you got to make it a balance offense, and you're going to have to counter with draws, some counter plays, and some inside zones. So you're going to need a running back that's got big playability and excellent vision. Who fits in there? Love fits in there. George Seifert said it best: run to set up the pass to set up the run. It's a play action bootleg offense, relied heavily on play action under center, and a bootleg to have a motion pocket or a moving pocket, opens up the running planes, simple, quick reads. Technically, if done right, it's a precision offense that is effective for stretching the field horizontally, which allows you to open up vertically, which then allows you to beat players with the deep routes, the run game, the intermittent passing, and the short passes. Timing, execution, vertical explosiveness. George Seifert said it best: disciplined, repeatable, unstoppable when executed right. That's what you need to look. This is the system, and this is the concept that I'm very excited about coming in here with Matt Nagy. And this is the concept that I look at. That's what I'm telling you. Oh, Big Funky Town says Matt Forte was a perfect back for the system. He was. And who does Matt Forte kind of remind you of? Jeremiah Love. I was going to just ask that. Let's see. Sorry, man. It's okay, Pete. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense getting rid of Tibbs. He is a pivotal piece for our defense. Pete, or is it just Pete? How do you know this? He's never healthy. Kayvon Thibodeau was never healthy. So you want to roll with Kayvon Thibodeau when you use the 3rd overall pick last year to bring in a guy you draft with, and this is why I hate Joe Shane. You drafted for redundancy again. And you're going to rely on a guy that in the last 2 years out of 34 games has played in 22. His 11 and a half sacks was in 23. He's had once. Well, let's look at his tackles. When he first came into the league, he had 33 solos, 16 assists. His big season, he had 26 solo, 24. 24, he had 14 and 14. Last year, he had 13 and 12. So he wasn't even leading the attack. Think about this for a second. He's played in 22 games out of a possible 34 in 2 seasons. And he has not been effective as a run stopper, as a pass rusher since 2023. So if someone offers me a 3 and a 5 or a 3 and a 6 for Kayvon Thibodeau, you got to jump at that. No, you also got to jump at hitting that like button. Hit that like button for me, please. Let's just keep liking. And like I said, how is he a pivotal piece? Sorry, I can't talk today. Succotash. He hasn't been healthy in 2 seasons. His one big season, he had 11 F sacks, and 6 of them came 3 games, and 2 of them came in a game where he had a sack in the first series and in the last series, and we lost that game. And by the time he had his second sack, the game was over. He couldn't close out the Jet game. Everyone talks about the Tommy DeVito one-pass Jet game. If Kayvon Thibodeau gets that sack at the end, the game's over. He couldn't close out the Jet game. And it was the Jet game. Mike Lee says, "Aye, crappy internet, too many spring breakers. We'll have to catch the replay." All right, no problem, Big Mike Lee. Yeah, pivot. That was a great comment right there for AJ. Pivotal from bad to worse. AJ, I want to thank you, brother, for sending out that email. That was a man's man thing to do. I appreciate that. I appreciate also the answer that came back. So I do appreciate you sending out an email for me. But now you got to send out the email to get me invited on the show. Hold on, I'm gonna fake type something so someone could hold on. Oh no, sorry. Actually, I got to do that later. Let's see here. Funky Town, what's up? Thank you for the Funky Town. All super chats go filled up with Children's Hospital. Dallas Radio is starting. They want a certain outside linebacker that we want. Styles, baby. Cowboys aren't going to get him. Cowboys aren't going to get him. But I love you, brother. Friday, Funky Town, when the new update drops, and I got level 25 and I got a bunch of things to buy shit, I'm going to be doing that. Let's see. Your slider says you want to see deep to Malik Neighbors. Oh yeah. That wasn't good. See Slider, sometimes you bring up these comments and they're the wrong comments, and it's not like it's a free play, and you threw the ball 10 yards short and made the receiver come back and tear his ACL. It's not like we're going to have that happen again, because we never seen it happen in the first place. But this is what I'm talking about with the Matt Nagy offense. There is this huge misconception that it's this vertical based offense. It's not. I watched film, and listen, it's no fun watching the Bears film. I watched film from 18 to 21. This is not a vertical based offense. This is a horizontal based offense. What he ran in Chicago. Now, people forget, and this is what always cracks me up. Matt Nagy called his own plays in Chicago outside of one portion, I think in 19, where we gave the play calling duties over, but then he came back to call them again. And he ran it with Mitchell Trubisky, and we're all thinking and we're all hoping that Jaxson Dart is more talented than Mitchell Trubisky ever will be or ever was. So if you're running a system where it's predicated at throwing between -2 and 10 yards, Jaxson Dart should be your perfect quarterback, because you can use the pocket as a rolling, floating pocket. You can use his ability to bootleg out of the pocket. You can stretch the defense horizontally. For those that just joined us and don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch it later. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. You can stretch the defense horizontally, which then allows open the middle of the field, and you send Isaiah Likely vertically, and you could still keep it in a short vertical throw, because the offense is designed to create spacing and what? Wait for it. Yak. Boom. I wish I had an explosion. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I think I have an explosion. Let me look it up. No, I'm not fake messaging. I'm trying to find the explosion sound effect. So when I look down, just so you know that. Wish I was a little bit taller. Wish I was a baller. How come I can't find my explosion sound effect? That just sucks, man. I have a sound effect that's literally called explosion. You know what? I'm going to change the explosion sound effect too. There we go. What do we got here? Yeah, like, let's see. Crap, internet. We got that. Charlie says, this might sound crazy, but if NY is thinking of drafting Love, are there any teams in the need of a running back? Scatter Tracy for a trade to get back in the third round. Don't see anyone. Listen, I think you're more apt at getting a third round pick for Kayvon Thibodeau than you ever would for Tyrone Tracy or Cam Scatterbo. I think you would get a 6 or a 7 for either one of them. We have to get back in. We got to try to get back into the third. We do. We have to try. And it's not crazy. But like I said, it's not. It also, if you look at this offense, it's not crazy about drafting Love now. And it took me some time. And this is why I usually don't stream on Wednesdays, but I want to jump on and talk about this. But it took me some time to go through this. And like I said, if you compare the Seaford offense, which is also part of the Andy Reid offense, and you watch what he did in Chicago. Hold on. People text me there. Hold on. Commodities market crashed a little bit. Well, we're okay. We're okay. We'll be all right. Send that. I gotta send that. And I gotta send that. And then we send that. Okay, we're good. I forgot where I was. But Love kind of makes sense. Love kind of makes sense if we're taking a look at the way we're running. Big Greg, what's up? Not Big Greg. Big Mark. Sorry. What's up, brother? Kayvon is inconsistent, and that is being nice. Kayvon is hardly healthy anymore. You're right. I still love that. You're being kind, Slider. What's up, Mr. Perry? Said Matt Forte was really good. Very underrated running back. Matt Forte, and who does, and it's funny though, because Matt Forte came over to the Jets, and we all know how that played out. But Matt Forte, when he was running in the system, I'm going to pull up his stats right now. I'm not fake texting people. I'm just pulling up his stats. So if you take a look at the way he ran into the system, this is a guy that, this is a guy that would have fit in perfectly, and he would be that running back. And Matt Forte reminds me of Love. Pivotal piece. He was out 7 weeks last year, and D didn't get any worse. No, actually, he didn't. How many players have Joe Shane re-signed? You were really good. Nope. Here's $1 million. I think it was. I don't know who. I don't know who I give credit to. It wasn't Mr. Authentic. I don't remember who, but he commented on it, I think, or he liked it. But someone put on X, when are we signing McKeithen? Since we signed Mr. Azuda back. Let's see here. His bark is bigger than his bite. Time to expose himself. Who are we exposing? All right, let's see here. Oh, that would probably be that'd be Kayvon Thibodeau. You're right. Slider said Cave T is too busy with Twitter wars with ex-football players. Who's gonna pay Kayvon Thibodeau next match as a backup? Well, that's the thing. That's why I said he's getting $14.79 million this year. We were stupid to pick up the 5th-year option. We were only smart to pick up the 5th-year option last year if we were moving on from him, because then you could have sold it to a team and you may have gotten a 2nd rounder for him if you said, listen, before he got hurt, listen, you're going to get a season and a half with this guy to determine if you really want to bring him back and you make him into that standout player. Because there was teams last year that needed defensive linemen. especially pass rushers, because they're at a premium. And you could have told him, listen, I'm going to give you a year and a half with this guy, and his salary is going to cost you between 12 and 14 million. But no, we said no. Yeah, KT's done. Looks great in a suit, though. He does look great in a suit. KT also jumped off sides and could have cost us. Yeah, it could have cost. You're right. Charlie says he's another. If this coaching staff can coach him up, he's done. I really get worried. Charlie, I really get worried here about this. Because I'm under the same, I don't want to say illusion or delusion, but I'm under the same thought process. We are relying so heavily on Denard Wilson coaching up a bunch of different players. We are relying so heavily on that. And that's kind of scary because we have so many reclamation projects for this guy to fix that. Here's my thought process, though. You figure he's got to try to fix Holland, Adebo, Phillips. He's gonna work with Corey Black. He's gonna work exclusively with a lot of he's gonna have to work with Newhouse, and there's so many guys that he's gonna have to work with to make into better players that give up a lot of production in the passing game that he's also going to work on with Kayvon Thibodeau. Only Dave Gettleman would offer you a 4 for Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, I would go on the show. They're a bunch of older guys, right? Just because I asked a question. Listen, if I ask a question about something and I think, I don't hold a grudge. I ask a question. You gave me the definitive answer. They could come on here. I could go on there. I would do it. Hell yeah. They're older guys, right? I would do that show. Why not? I just got to rev up my fake accounts to go on there. But fuck yeah. I like that show. Why not? Let's see here. Let's go here. Looks great in the suit. Kayvon Thibodeau does look good in the suit. But like I say, Drain Illuminor, if I used to be a fashionista when I worked. I mean, I wasn't dressed to the 9s. I was dressed to the 11.5s. And one of my staples in my wardrobe, and I still have it, is I have a bunch of Armani double-breasted suits. And when I saw him roll out the double-breasted suit I didn't like the chain, but he rolled that suit out. I was like, oh man, you are Return of the Mac. Let's see here. I still like only Dave Gettleman to do that. It will be interesting next year. Left guard, center, right guard, all free agents next year. We gotta look at the center position. This is one of the true reasons I really wanted Tyler Lindenbaum. Because if you are going to run this Matt Nagy offense that we talked about 30 minutes ago, and I hope I broke it down enough for everyone, in a way that was, I'm not going to say easy to understand because you're all intelligent fans, but I hope I broke it down in a way that you could see that even though they are bringing in and have deep threats in reference to Neighbors, Mooney, and Likely and Slayton, that this concept will be based horizontally. But if he runs more towards a Seifert offense, now you got to remember Andy Reid was with the 49ers with Bill Walsh, who George Seifert is a disciple of Bill Walsh in the West Coast offense. So that's why that's the type of offense that he ran in Philadelphia and he runs in Kansas City. But the way, like I said, you are going to, and it's weird to say, but you got to watch it. You are going to stretch the field horizontally to open up the vertical routes. And the vertical routes do not have to be 40, 50-yard shots. You could still run a vertical route to 15, 20 yards, but you create the mismatch, you create the spacing, which then allows your wide receiver to create the yak. That's why that's why it just kind of makes sense. Okay, about the fucking ads. Where are the goofballs? Because I can't fucking figure it out. I can't fucking figure it out. I have no. I Google. I chat, not Chat GPT. I Gemini. I can't figure out how to turn the fucking ads off. If someone could help me with that, not now during the show, but if someone could DM me or email me at tim@onlineBigBlue.com and tell me how to turn off the ads on the YouTube lives, I would be internally grateful. Because I can't fucking figure it out. Chris says, I gotta go, but I'll watch the rest of this stream later. Smash that like that, Giants family. Thank you, brother. Off Broadway. Off Broadway, I was just thinking of you the other day. Because we did a noon stream. And I know you watched the stream during lunch and in the last hour of your job, which is actually kind of funny because I was like, oh, I'll do it at 4:00 off Broadway. I'll watch it. So just wondering where you were. Good to have you in. Big Tim, the Giants will be lucky to get anything for Tibbs. Right now, I do think they would be lucky to get anything. Tibbs. Mr. Perry's just having a good time. Aren't we all? James Stein says Giants need to get for Tibbs a draft pick, 5 or 7 if possible. I do think 5 and 7 is more likely for Kayvon Thibodeau. I would like to see a 3. If you have yourself your starting quarterback and all you gave up was this year's 3, and like I said, I don't know what Jaxson Dart's going to be. I would love to tell you if I knew what I would love to tell you what Jaxson Dart's going to be. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you this. You hired the right offensive coordinator. You hired the right quarterback coach for Jaxson Dart because this system is perfect for Jaxson Dart. It really is. This system is perfect for an RPO scrambling quarterback who is precise between -2 and 10 and does have it does have the long enough or the ability to go deep in reference to this offense. He is the perfect quarterback. I'm out here texting and commuting. Well, don't do that. Are you using your fake account? People that know the show will understand that, but I'm not going to get into that anymore. Oh my God. But Banks, thank you, Mr. Perry. I forgot the other reclamation project for Denard Wilson is going to be Deontay Banks. So, but I'm telling you this, I'm going to say this over and over again. This is the perfect. I don't know how he's going to run it. I can't tell you, but this is the perfect offense to put Jaxson Dart in. Literally. If he's going to run Matt Nagy, the same concept he ran in 18 to 21, this is the perfect offense. Because you're not going to have to worry about going deep. You're going to create spacing, which is going to give you the yak, which is going to use the perception of that. You are going to use the the short passes as a staple of the running game. And you have a big enough fullback to block in the backfield. You can use a floating pocket. You can use the bootleg. You can do all the things that Jaxson Dart does well. Someone that doesn't get talked about much is Darius Alexander. Do you think he can be a good starter on the D-line? And what do you think of him last year? Broken, I'm going to tell you this about Darius Alexander. He was the 12th defensive tackle taken and a defensive tackle deep draft. He is a undersized defensive tackle at 300 pounds. He is athletic. He even going back to college, he was known more as a pass rusher. Joe Shane said all these things as well. He showed his chops and his ability to get into the backfield to sack the quarterback. And God, I don't know. How do you turn this shit off? I mean, I am so sick of these fucking commercials myself. I have my I'm watching on the other monitor here, but I don't know how to turn it off. I wish I knew how to turn it off. But he is a guy that is to me right now is a rotational piece because he doesn't play the run well. But that's never been his strength. So I don't fault Darius Alexander for not having the strength to play the run because that's not what he does. Let's see here, but I think he can be a good rotational piece this year. I just think I get worried that if you play him in a 3-4, he's going to be an undersized nose tackle that's going to get run over in the middle. But if you use him as a rotational piece, and I would like to see the Giants move him at times to the defensive end position. That's Darius Alexander. I would like to see that. So I think he could be more beneficial going down the road. Our DC has fixed its square pegs into the round holes because that's the Joe Shane way. Since nobody wants to pony up a third for Tibbs, we are probably stuck hanging on to him and hoping he nets the Giants a third-round compensation pick when he signs elsewhere. You know, Joe, I thought about that the other day, and it's to an interesting point that you have. You can if he has a breakout season in year 5, you could potentially get a third or fourth round compensatory pick if he leaves in free agency. But the question is going to be this: is he going to be? Okay. Is he going to be? Is it worth taking is it worth taking a 5th rounder for him, or trying to figure out if he's going to get you a third? Armstead is in your show. Oh my God, on your show. What? No, it's not Jesse. Okay, I'll see if I can. You set it up. Set it up. I'll bring the hair. Tell them about my horizontal offense. They're old timers. They'll get it. Who do you want? True ball. I've said it before. I still want Sonny Styles. Here's the thing. I personally want Sonny Styles. I have wanted Sonny Styles now before the combine. I can't remember who was astute enough to bring me over to the Sonny Styles camp because I wanted a tackle. But after a bunch of people talked him up on the stream, even before the combine, I watched a lot of his film and I'm like, well, shit, this is a 3-down guy. This is a 3-down linebacker that we have not seen with this type of ability since drafting Carl Banks back in '84. And I'm not saying he's good. I'm never going to put the moniker of he's the next Carl Banks or actually I did. I did. I said he could be the next Carl Banks, but I don't want to give him that astigmatism. I don't want to put that on him, but he could be the first true homegrown, home drafted, 3-down, sideline to sideline linebacker who can not only play the run but cover since Carl Banks. Now, if you went Jeremiah Love, I'm fine because, like I said, Jeremiah Love fits the offense that we're going to be running with Matt Nagy. He's Jeremiah Love, if you think about it, probably is in the draft. Probably is the most complete back for the Giants system in reference to the draft. Gold dropped $146. It's dropped for 2 days. Now, I know the Giants are going out and scouting, what's his name? Mike Washington. I don't have a problem with that because I think Mike Washington would be a guy that fit the system. So I don't have the problem with that. He's 6'1", 220 pounds. Referred to as that workhorse back. He played over in Buffalo. Not in the Buffalo Bills, but definitely there is a university in Buffalo. He also played at North Syracuse High School. 2-way player there. He's a guy that's got speed and strength at 230 pounds, we'll say. He's got straight line speed, man. Now, like I said, if the game was played in a straight line, he would be the first round pick. He's reliable coming out of the passing game. We're talking about Mike Washington. He really solidified himself at the at the Senior Bowl. If you want to throw up a big red flag, he's got 10 fumbles in the last 3 seasons. And while here's the other problem, pass protect, but I don't need him to protect the passer. I say he's not good in pass protection, but I got Patrick Ricard for that. And for as fast as he is with Mike Washington, if you watch his tape and you watched him during the Senior Bowl practices, he's not the most elusive runner. He's more elusive in the open field, Mike Washington. But if you put him in tight quarters, he's not an ankle breaker. He doesn't have the wiggle. It's going to be straight check down. If you look at him, what he did in college. Now, what he did in college is not going to be what he did in the pros, but he ran simple check down routes and screens, which is perfect for running the Matt. You know, it actually is a pretty good fix. It is perfect for running the Matt Nagy system. Okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. And you know what? Sometimes it takes a little longer for the train to get back into the station and come back around, but I'm getting it. I don't want to do this. I like when people are like, you need to do this. I'm like, no, I don't need to do anything I don't want to do. Hold on. I got to check out of this. There's my mouse. My mouse just died. Here we go. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Hold on, my where do you go, my lovely? Don't forget to hit the like button if you could do that. Tim, you have to realize that these younger kids or men today are super sensitive. Yeah. yeah. Don't call them the kitty corp. And people, listen, people, I need to just say this. I'm just going to say this right off the bat. Don't use my phrases on other shows because then they think it's me. So don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Wish I was a little bit taller. Wish I was a baller. Oh, what do we say? Love the string. Well, thank you. Low key thing. The best pickup so far is Patrick Ricard. He is going to be the keyboard unlocks. He's going to be the key to unlock Jaxson Dart and the running game. Here's the only thing with Patrick Ricard. I agree wholeheartedly. But here's the problem. In the last 2 seasons, he's only played in 39% of the snap count. He is truly a blocking he's truly a blocking fullback. He reminds me of Maurice Carthon back in the 80s with the Giants. Maurice Carthon's job was to open up the lanes for Joe Morris and Otis Anderson. That was his job. And that's what Patrick Ricard does. And he's going to be that 6th offensive lineman. Now, most teams are going to figure out early that when Ricard's in the game, you're probably going to run. So Nagy is going to have to put him in situations where we're not limiting the receiving options by bringing him in. Because like I said, Nagy going back to going back to 18, where he had his most prolific offense, where they were 12-4 under Mitchell Trubisky. He ran a lot of 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 running back set. So that 1 running back would probably be Patrick. So he's going to have to kind of figure out a way to mesh him into the system. But I think, like I said, with the depletion of the offensive line, with the question marks of the offensive line, having a 6th blocker, I'm down for that. I'm good. And if you take a look at what they gave him, let me pull up my chart. The guaranteed money this year, and like I said, he only got $7.5 million. But right now he's at 2.8 million right now, counting against the cap, which is not a outlandish. No, it's kind of outlandish when you know he only played 39% of the snaps the last 2 seasons, but it's not an outlandish. Ow, motherfucker. I am typing a message. This is not a burner account. I'm typing a message. Okay. Okay. But you know, like I said, that is a lot for a guy that only played 39% in the last 2 years, but he could play more this year. I'm out here texting and commuting. Charlie said, people should never use your links in Firefox, Bravo, etc. Use desktop version, much less add by 90%. People should use your link in a Fire. Really? Okay. I didn't know that. Thank you, Charlie. Joe says, Tim, I was wondering how Harb's desire to use a heavy personnel and the Rome run scheme or integrate into Nagy's offense. On the surface, they don't look like they necessarily fit well together. Think about what they ran the last 2 seasons in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson and Henry. Think about that for a second. And here's the thing, Joe. I think this is why I love Harbaugh as the coach. I think he is smart enough, and I know he is smart enough because we've seen him have an 18-year career in one city and win a Super Bowl. He's smart enough to know that I got to run with the personnel I have. And he's smart enough to know that Jaxson Dart is not Lamar Jackson. And he's smart enough to understand, listen, I brought in Matt Nagy to run his West Coast style system. And I went out and got these guys. Likely is the perfect fit for the Nagy/Seifert, which we talked about earlier. Go back and watch the show. West Coast system. His butt face. Sorry. As a bot myself, I eject all the burner account talk. Oh my God, you made me snort, man. You made me snort, brother. That was pretty fucking funny. that was pretty fucking funny. Ryan doesn't like me anymore, which is fine. Because he says I attacked him by a burner account. Okay. I can't even fucking get YouTube to take off the goddamn ads. But that's okay. But then he changed. Well, I very likely did it. And then his thought was that I look down a lot, which I do. Because I've run multiple businesses, multiple podcasts, the commodities market, the stock market. And then he said I buy users and I buy views, which I find hilarious. Because he's like, someone sent me, he's like, well, his 12,000 subscribers don't equal out what he's got because he's probably on Social Blade. But then he doesn't realize that if you look at the Giants page, which has over 300,000 subscribers, I have just as many views on the lives as they do. So by his thought process, the Giants are buying all their subscribers because they only get between 1,600 to 2,000 views on their daily show. Wish I was a little bit taller. Wish I was a baller. That's as Forrest Gump would say. That's all I got to say about that. And I should tell him that if you're going to go on Social Blade, I'm going to give you a little hint. Social Blade is not directly connected through an integration with YouTube. So sometimes you see things on there. Like you can go look at Bad Dog's Social Blade page, and Bad Dog is the pinnacle, in my opinion, of giant content creators in regards to getting subscribers and content. He lost 1 million views like 4 days ago. And it's not like he went out and bought 1 million views because you know how much that would cost? But Social Blade is not integrated directly with. It's just, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Let's see. Dart plus timing equals success. I agree 100%. AJ says Neil at right guard, Azuda at left guard. Joe Shane gets a new contract. If that happens, I will fucking fall over. I will probably drop dead. And I shouldn't say that. I will fall over. James Stein says new DC's got his work cut out for him. I hope he's up to the job and at hand. I'm you know what? Darius Alexander does not equal Dave Tomlinson. He does not. That's a good analogy, AJ. That is a really good analogy. But Darius Alexander is more athletic. And I think that if we want to compare him, Darius Alexander, to anyone that was here for the Giants, hold on. Why is my son's going outside? My son's going, hold on. What time is it? 5? Oh, he can go outside. That's fine. It's like 38 degrees. It's like 32 degrees and he wants to go fucking outside at 5 o'clock. But I just remembered it's what you call it. It's when they move the clock. He reminds me of Chris Canty. I kind of think Darius Alexander, in my mind, if you think about it, if you want to have a giant comparison, Chris Canty would be the guy that I would go with. Chris Canty was a guy that played the right defensive tackle position for a bunch of years with the Giants. When he went to Baltimore, he went and played defensive end for about 3 seasons. But he was a guy that was because, and like I said, he was on that 2011 team. He was a guy that, and also if you go back the way he looked in Dallas, he played a lot of defensive end in Dallas. But like I said, he was moved to the interior for the Giants, and he was not a guy that was, he could play the run. He was not, Chris Canty was not a great run stuffer, but he could push penetration into the back of the pocket.
That's what she said.
So, I think Chris Canty would be a much better comparison. Actually, I said more and somehow my comments get deleted. Weird. I just want to see Jesse Armstead and Jim Burt on your show. I'm not going to tell you something, but one of those names we may be in talks with. I'll text you later. You know what, Slider? I will. Slider, if you don't say anything, Slider, you're not going to say anything, right? You're not going to say. I trust you, brother. Hold on, Slider. I'm going to text you. No, I'm not using the burner account. I'm actually texting Slider because I'm looking down. Don't say anything, Slider. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I could just text you from the. What the fuck am I doing that for? Hold on. Are you on my? Oh yeah, you're on my what you call it. And that's why I laugh because I don't text from my phone. I text from my computer. Let's see here. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I can't see. There we go, Slider. I sent you a message. Slider, I sent you a message. Hold on. I wish it was a little bit taller. All right, let's see here. Send tips to the Raiders. I would send tips to the Raiders for Crosby. Why not? Big Davy, brother. What's going on, man? Tim, what did you do for St. Patrick's Day yesterday? Well, I will tell you this. I don't fully remember. So that's the way I'm going to. I talked to, you know what? James had it best. James, I was talking to James before the show, and he's like, you're having coffee at 3:59. I was like, yes. And I said, this smells like the greatest fucking coffee in the world right now. Honestly, like I said, if someone could send me something that tells me how to take the fucking commercials off YouTube, I would on the streams, I'd be greatly appreciative. Greg says, what you would be really heartbroken if someone takes him before us. Oh, Sonny Styles. Yeah, I actually kind of would be. I would kind of be pissed. James Stein says, I hope the new OC and quarterback coach can make Dart even better than last year and maybe teach him to throw better downfield too. But here's the problem. Like we said, James, I don't need him to throw vertically. I don't. The Nagy offense is weird to say. It's a horizontal offense. It's weird. And like I said, I had to go back to try to find games from 18 to 21. It is a horizontal offense. It's really an interesting concept. And if you watch the first year they ran it, when they went 12-4, they ran that shit to perfection. I mean, they really did. Bring your key. Hold on. Texting my kid. Bring your key. Bring your key. Because he always locks his ass out. So sometimes you have to remind him to bring his key. But at 18, like I said, if you take a look at the way they ran that system literally to perfection. They really did. And it was interesting to watch. And we talked about, you had the bell cow back in Juwan Howard, and then you had the speed back in Tariq Cohen, which is kind of what we have now. If you look at Tracy and Scadaboo, it's a fun concept to watch. And if they run it the right way, they could put up bunches of points. And if, you have to go under the concept that Mitchell Trubisky, Jaxson Dart is better than Mitchell Trubisky. That's what you got to go for. And you take a look. They scored 23, 24, 48, 28, 31, 24, 41, 35, 23, 27, 15, 24, 14, 24. That is a pretty high scoring offense for a Mitchell Trubisky quarterback team. I don't want the next I don't want the next Carl Banks. I want the next Lawrence Taylor, Pat Swilling, or Chris Dolman. Well, Chris Dolman was an unrestricted, was an undrafted free agent. So I have a feeling Washington is better shorts than in pads. Mike Washington, and I'm not going to say anything yet because I haven't really seen him outside of some film and in the Senior Bowl, but that is a good analogy. There's a lot of guys that look, they play. And we've said it before on this show. You got a lot of guys that play like Tarzan during the week, but then they play like Jane on Sunday. I don't know if that's sexist. It's true. I don't know if it's sexist though. Damn it, there's another fucking ad. I'm fucking done with these ads. I'm going to rip out YouTube. We're not all going to be on that. We're going to be on some other streaming platform. Hit the like, guys. Let's get to 50 likes before I got to go make dinner. 10 fumbles. That is a red flag. A little bit. Tim, what if Styles is taken before we pick him? So what's your plan B? Well, I'm going to cry. And then I'm probably taking Love. Petro, my brother, what's going on, good sir? What's on, Mr. Dabruce? I said that before because I saw the podcast yesterday after your show. One of the main reasons I'm a loner and don't deal with many people. This is why I love dogs. People always ask me, why do you have so many dogs? Because dogs are loyal to a fault. When you're having a bad day, a dog is there. I love my wife. Oodles and noodles. I just hate people, but I love dogs. Dogs, like I said, are the best judgment of character. They really are. I have a friend that's an asshole, 100%. And I had a dog that everyone loved, and this dog bit him. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Dogs are the greatest intestine to character there is. If you have I'm going to tell you a real quick story. Real quick story. My wife calls me Snow White because no matter where we go, no matter what dog it is, dog could be walking by me and it will stop and pull to come back. We had people lost their dog and I'm like, and all of a sudden they're running around I'm like, come here. The dog comes running up to me. So she calls me Snow White because she's like, anytime we walk by a dog, the dog fucking stops and pulls to get to you. So she sits there and goes, ho, 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 like Snow White. She said, I'm Snow White. Let's see. Charlie says, if love is gone, Styles and Downs. If love is gone, I trade down. Well, no, if love is gone and Styles there, I'm good. You're right. I'm good. North Syracuse, baby. Yes, were you not here? And thank you, fucking $10 super chats. Go to Philadelphia Children's Hospital or the Children's Hospital Philadelphia, whatever one you want to call it. We're not at Frankie Town. We talked about that. I gave the little wink and the nod because we talked about he went to. Hold on, we got it right here. Mike Washington went to North Syracuse High School. Yeah, we talked about that funky town. What's for dinner? Leftover Mexican food from a Mexican restaurant that we love. But I got to still make some white rice, and I'm going to make some empanadas. Well, not empanadas. No, I'm going to make it. Oh, no, they're kind of like empanadas, but I'm going to probably make some tostones or something. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. She hasn't called to say she's on the way, so I haven't on the way home, so I haven't decided yet. I still love this. As a bot myself, I object to all the burner account talks. I still love that. That literally made me snort. I love the repeat of King of the Almost Sack.
King of the Almost Sack.
The power went out for most of the day yesterday and the night before. God, my sound effects are so and all the settings on the faders. because it's auto. And I guess I didn't set the faders and using the auto button where I could make it a preset and come back. So now they're all fucked up. Let's see. I've seen him throw some wicked blocks. You from Boston, Charlie? Charlie's from Boston. Is my wife okay with my toy collection? No. And it's not a toy. Hold on. Let me get to this comment. No, it's not a toy collection. Hi, Ryan. It's not a toy collection. It's a collectible collection. It's a collectible collection. It's not a toy collection. And I have some collectibles that are probably more expensive than your car. And I have movie props. Hell, I got a life-size Bigfoot in my man cave being served behind the bar by a, what do they call it? A clone trooper, a full-size clone trooper. See, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. So if you go back to psychology, because I did take 3 years of psychology, I am trying to fulfill my childhood and what I didn't have in my childhood in my adulthood. Now, the problem with that is when you have money, it's just like, well, fuck, I'm just going to buy this. I'm just going to get that. So it's all good. My wife puts up with a lot. My wife is a saint. I'm literally going, I should, like they do in front of stadiums, I should build a statue of her and put her in the front of the house. She puts up with the motorcycles. She puts up with the cars. She picks up with the trucks. She puts up with all that shit. She hates coming. I love it because she's always like, because I have the entire basement and I have a gym on one side. There's 3 rooms in the basement. The other side there's a gym with the sauna. Then you have the middle room, which is the movie room, which is the man cave. Then you have my office. So she always goes, she goes, it's so fucking crazy down here. Because you got the bar, you got all the shit going on, but she loved me, so she puts up with it. You'll figure it out that one day, Max, whatever your name was, Max, when Max Memo Master, you'll figure that out when you hit puberty. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. If someone wants to buy my views, I'm for sale. I'll leave a tutorial link in the comments. It's pretty easy. Charlie, leave the fucking link now. Did you leave the link, Charlie? No, you can't leave the link. Charlie, do me a favor. Email me at tim@onlineBigBlue.com if you can, because you can't leave a link in the chat. I don't know how to turn that off. But it's tim@onlineBigBlue.com because I really want to take these fucking commercials off. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how they came on. I really don't. I wish I did. So, but if you do that, it'd be great. Tim is great. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, no, wait. Tim is great. Thank you, New York Giants Talk. It's because we're on Twitch, too. Joe said, rough day today. Dow Jones, 750 points. Down is the same. If it keeps going, I'm going to look like the guy on the Monopoly card with pockets turned out and no money. You know what the problem is? If we keep that going, I'm going to have to go back to work. Hey-oh. No, I'm not. It'll bounce. The gold thing kind of confuses me because of the fact that usually when there's a war, people dive deep into commodities. So I'm a little confused. I still think it's not towards the end of the month, but when the gold prices are so high, towards the end of the month, people go out and take their, take their profits out of gold and sell it. I've had gold for years. I have golds that I bought like at $1,100 an ounce. So I'm fine. You don't look hungover enough. Well, you know what? We can work on that too. Charlie says, good time to buy Bitcoin. No, I got out of all the Bitcoin. We already answered what was for dinner. Let's see that. Charlie says, I'm taking love. I'm taking love because love saves the day. Love saves the day. I'm telling you, love can be our Howard Cohen in the 18 Nagy offense. In some ways, if Mike Washington, who has all the vertical speeds in the land coming out of North Syracuse High School, he would be a good fit too, but he just doesn't have that wiggle in space. he seems to be more of a straight line vertical threat. And I've said this a million times before. Once the game is played in a straight line, because I love when people watch the 40 and go, he ran a 4.23. Well, great. Jerry Rice had the worst 40 time in the history of the NFL. Well, probably not the history of the NFL, but he had a terrible 40 time, but you couldn't catch him. I've seen guys that have blazing speed. Willie Gault, track star, Olympics, had a couple good seasons with the Bears, but in the early part of his career, couldn't do anything. Ronaldo Nehemiah, blazing speed for the 49ers in the 80s. Blazing speed, an Olympian. Doesn't matter. Game is not played running straight. So that's why I get a little leery about Mike Washington. Dogs know, which means Tim's is aces, and that's all I need to know. Glad I found the stream since I dislike most content creators. Hey, well, so do I. That's why me and Joe get along. Tim, are you okay with your wife's toy collection? Yeah. She doesn't have a toy collection. I'm okay with her playing it with me. Money Mike says, who do you want the Giants to take at 5? I haven't answered this question yet. I'm just being facetious, Money Mike. I'm sorry. I've already, Sonny Styles is my first pick. It didn't used to be my first option. I really wanted to grab a tackle. But if you can get, after watching some film, if you can get a true sideline to sideline 3-down linebacker who can cover, who was a former safety who was converted to linebacker the last 2 years, who's not going to come off the field, and you put him, and like I said, you put him in the hybrid role, and I'm not talking safety linebacker hybrid. I'm talking about playing a both inside linebacker and outside linebacker. I think he's the guy. Tim is not just great. He's a legend. Well, thank you. Everyone's in the, no, I got out of Bitcoin. Davey says, would you buy defense contractor stocks in the middle of a war? No. Let's see here. Charlie says the dollar never went up in value in your life. No, you're right. You're right. All right. Where are we at? How many likes we got here? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. 48. I thought I said 50, guys. Didn't I say 50 likes? What's wrong with you people? Let's see here. Emrod, hit the like button. Hit the like button, Emrod. Hit it. Hit it. I want to rock right now. I'm Rob Bass and I came to get down. I'm not internationally known, but I'm known throughout the microphone because I get stupid. I mean outrageous. Stay away from me if you're contagious, because I'm a man now. No, not a loser. Being MCs, what I choose. Ladies love me. Girls adore me. I'm going to text the wife real quick. See where she is. I am curious to see where she is. I can't text her from the computer. I got to text her from here. So I'm not using a burner account. I'm just texting the wife. Where do you go, my lovely? I want to know. Don't keep me waiting. When are you leaving? Let's see if she answers. I'd be curious if she answers. I don't know. She might answer. She might be in a meeting. She's probably in a meeting. Okay. All right. I'm still upset we're only at 48 likes. I'm still upset. Emrod, did you like finding football players whose testing supports their tape, not players who tape is ordinary, but their test through the roof? That's a great way to put it, Joe. That's a great. T-Brad, hit the like button, brother. Get us up to 50. Yeah, I want players, and I don't want to be a player no more, but I crush a lot. But I want players, and I want players that their intangibles are viewable in college on the field, and to your point, not in the combine. Emrod said, sorry, I'm late. Had to pick up the kids. Big Francis at 5. He's probably one of the few blue chip players in the draft. I'm not adverse to Francis at 5. We talked about the big kid out of Miami at 5 many times before. I just think that if you brought back Jermaine Illuminor, you still have Andrew Thomas. You're not going to take Francis at 5 to move him into the interior line. Like I said, we had Ryan Roberts on from A to Z Sports, who is their draft expert, and that show is out now on YouTube, but it's going to be rebroadcasted on Believe probably in a couple days. Oh, you know what else is broadcasted on Believe? I know what you're going to say, because we all know It's the mighty FanDuel.com. Number one sports book in America. New customers get up to $300 back in bonus bets for 10 days if your bets don't pay off. Dear Lord, that's like playing with free money. I'm going to say it one more time on the mighty FanDuel.com. They want you to win. New customers get up to $300 back in bonus bets for 10 days if you don't win. They give you a token. They give you a coupon. We read the whole thing the other day. You can have casino games. You can play fantasy. You got racing. You got research. You got FanDuel TV. You got the sports book. Go sign up right now. New players get 500 bonus bets up to $1,000 back in cash bonus to play the exclusive Huff and even more Puff slot game. Yeah, I'm old. I do like seeing the wheels spin. I play this car game where you try to park the cars, and I do it to fight off all timers. And my wife cracks up because you're doing it to fight off all timers. I'm like, yeah, that's what they tell you. But I'm gonna say it one more time. $300 up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. It's time for the NCAA tournament. It's time for the big dance. Get up to $300 in bonus bets every day for 10 days. Use your bet reset token. I'm going to tell you how to do it real quick. You sign up to FanDuel. After signing up, you will get one bet reset token every day for 10 days. Select your wager, toggle on bet token reset, place your bet, and if you lose, you'll be refunded in bonus bets. There's a maximum of $300 per bet per token. Refunds will take 72 hours of bet settlement. Returns will also be issued on non-withdrawable bonus bets and will expire 7 days after receipt. The bet reset tokens expires 24 hours after you get it. Go on the mightyfanduel.com. I've already told you it's the easiest freaking app you can use for your sports book. I love it. You'll love it. Mightyfanduel.com. FanDuel.com, number one sports book in America. Off-Broadway says, gold is down. I'm going out to buy many. I may need to buy a gas. Listen, guys, everything's going to go back down again. Brad says, where is it? Hit that like button. Let's see here. Money Mike. What's up, Money Mike? I like Styles as well. You choose Styles over Downs, and secondaries needs the most help. Yeah, I still choose. We've talked about this on the show. In 50 years, 250 picks, four. It reminds me of the old concussion tests in college. You know, you get because back in college, you didn't get a concussion, you got your bell rung because you would hear bells. You would literally hear, I've had 11 known concussions, and I'm fine. But you had 11, so you get your bell rung. So they used to give you the test. They would hold up two fingers and they would go, and sometimes the ref would be there and they hold up two fingers and they're like, how many fingers? And sometimes you get your bell rung, like, how many fingers? You go, blue. he's okay. He's like, where? And they'd be like, where are you? And you're like, outside. They'd be like, okay, he's good to go. And then what they used to do, if they really wanted to be, sometimes the refs wanted to be dicks, they would hover over you when they were trying to give you this fake concussion test, and they'd be like, how many fingers? And then you would feel, anyone played and would know this, you would feel two taps on your leg. Let's say if it was two, and you'd be like, two. He's like, see, he's good to go. But I'm fine. But like I said, in 250 picks in 50 years, only 4 safeties have been taken in the top 5. 2 of those safeties had pedestrian careers. 2 of them had phenomenal careers. So I can't draft a 4th tier level defender. And I don't mean that as a skill set. I mean the tier 1 is your defensive line. Tier 2 is your linebacker. Tier 3 is your corners. Tier 4 is your safeties. I need a tier 2 guy. Yes, Tremaine Edmonds, good player, but he's not going to be able to cut. He does not cover well. And you need a guy that can be on the field for 3 downs, and that's going to be Sonny Styles. What's up, Big Davey? My wife, when she goes to work, says she is on vacation for me. Yeah, my wife probably said that too. Soon as you come in live, smash that like button. Thank you, Charlie. Big T, what's up? Hey, Tim, do you have any suggestions on where I should bet on the NCAA tournament? No, I don't. Besides the mightyfanduel.com, number one sports book in America. Did I mention when new customers get $300 back in bonus bets for 10 days? You get your bonus bet reset token. James Stein says Tim is lying D down the rap tracks. Very cool, man. Oh, I just, you know what? It's a problem though. Sometimes it gets stuck in my brain, and I got to finish to a certain point. Everybody go out to mightyfanduel.com and place your bet. Joe says, if you are committed to going offensive line in round 1, trade down somewhere 12-14 and grab Looney. I do like the kid from Penn State. I do. And I've said this before. If Sonny Styles is gone at 5, I would seriously consider trading down. Oh Lord, will you buy me a Mercedes Benz? I don't do that. He's off Broadway, says, hit that like button, you slackers. James Stein says, man, I love this stream. Is the best football stream ever, man. I do really think we gave a good analogy. I think I'm going to break it down into shorts. I'm sorry.
That's what she said.
I'm going to break it down into shorts. And I think what I'm going to do is, because of the fact that I really do, I like the concept of the horizontal offense compared to the vertical. It really does make sense. And like I said, everything, and this is why I'm really loving what the Giants have done this offseason. It literally makes sense. How many times have we sat here as Giant fans and looked at moves and be like, oh, that doesn't make any fucking sense? And if you look at bringing in Mooney, and I'm telling you this is what makes me laugh. You look at bringing in this kid, you're not really bringing him in as a vertical threat. You're not. You are literally bringing him in as a horizontal threat who can then, once we open up the middle of the field, go vertical. And that's why you got Likely as well. It's crazy. It's a crazy thought process. Hey, there's Big Dash. He's Big Dash is Big Dash. Was Big Dash in the chat and didn't say anything? I gotta go look, because I love when Don drops in the how do you go back? Does anyone know how you go back and see all your messages? Because it always takes me to the top messages, then it stops scrolling. And I don't know why it does that. But wait a minute. No, that's still. Why does it stop that? Why does it do that? All messages are visible. Okay. Well, how do we go back up to the beginning of the show? Well, I think Big Chat was in the chat because he's got himself an online Big Blue membership, or maybe he rejoined. I don't know. Someone asked me if I'd go on Big Dash's show. I'd go on Big Dash's show. I like Big Dash. I like Big Dash a lot. I like Big Dash because he's not full of shit. He's a smart, astute person in regards to talking about football. He doesn't go overly crazy on shit. And I have to admit, I haven't seen. I could be totally wrong now because I have not seen any Big Dash videos in a while. But, because I'm too busy going on Ryan's stream and being a dummy account. But I always talk about going on Big Dash's show. I would do that. But we got a special guest coming in on Sunday. It's like I don't know if I'm going to be here Sunday now because I'm going to the Knick game. And then usually I spend the whole day in New York on Sunday. Let's see here. Did you talk about Wyatt Teller yet? How come they did not have $8 million a year, but they still have Runyon on the roster for $9 million? Well, because of the fact you're also going to incur the dead cap number for Runyon and the Runyon contract. Hold on. Let's look that up. John Runyon contract. There's actually a good reason for that. I'm going to tell you why. Because the Giants don't have any cap space. You signed Darnell Mooney. We've talked about this before. The Giants had $6.5 million before the Darnell. All the signings have come out, so the Giants have $6.5 million in cap space. But the problem is we haven't covered the Mooney trade yet. We haven't gotten to that yet. Let's see. The cap number is 11. There's a dead cap number on a pre-June 1st of 2.5 and a post-June 1st 2.5. So you're going to have a cap savings of $9 million, but you're going to have a dead cap number of 2.5 if you move on from John Runyon. I think the best option for the John Runyon, if you want to keep continuity for the John Runyon deal, I still think the best option for that is to just convert the guaranteed money into bonus because that lowers his cap number, which then in turn gives you more cap space. Yeah, I did hit the like button already. Good. Thank goodness. Charlie says, if Baldy seems to love the moves, I'm good with it. Off Broadway says, this is where the smarter Giant fans hang. No giant dumb offs or unrealistic chodes. Don't use chodes on other streams because then they're going to think it's me. People don't go on other streams and use my language because then I get in trouble. Dear Lord. I love you, Off Broadway, man. All right, where are we at? We talked about the Nagy offense. We talked about Jaxson Dart. We talked about Jaxson Dart could potentially have if I don't like using this term, and everybody knows I'm still not a Jaxson Dart fan. I'm not, because I don't know what he's going to be yet, and I haven't seen what he's going to be yet. But I hate using this term because I always think it's stupid, because I think every player could have this. Jaxson Dart could potentially have a breakout season in the Matt Nagy offense with Callahan as the QB coach. And that's a lot. That is a lot coming from me. Because like I said, it's not that I don't like. I just still don't know what Jaxson Dart is. I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I could tell you. No, I'm not using a burner account. I'm checking where my son is on Life 365. Because he went outside. He went outside to hang out in 38-degree weather, which is fine. It's good. I love that he goes outside. I think that's great. I wish I was to go to there. Let's see where the wife is. She's still. Oh, according to this, I'm still at the train station. I'm still at the train station 41 minutes ago. Where is she at? Is she driving? Or is she in the parking lot? I think she's in the parking lot soon. That's all. I love when my wife goes, do you track me? I'm like, yep. Just like track me. Well, no, I don't track her. I do it so I know where she's at. And then I send her this button that says, I love you. And it brings up hearts and stuff. And then sometimes I hit this other button that says, bring me food. Sorry. And the kid's still outside. Let's see here. AJ says, Teller got benched, and the guy that benched him is now with the Giants. You're right. You're right. NY top viewer, streamboo.com. All right. I don't know what that means. I think Jaxson Dart will have a down year learning the new system. Well, see, here's the thing, Charlie. And I thought about that. I did think about that for a while, about him potentially regressing a little, but then if you think about this, Brian Dable, Mike Kafka did not do Jaxson Dart any favors his rookie season. They really didn't. They did not put this guy in a position to grow as a quarterback, Jaxson Dart. They put him in a position to run the same college offense he basically ran at Ole Miss. And what they were trying to do is win games, save their own asses, but they weren't cultivating a quarterback. Now you bring in Matt Nagy and Callahan and you run a West Coast offense. Now we went through this long diatribe earlier 2 hours ago in the stream about what Nagy did in 2018 with Mitchell Trubisky. And how that if we can do a carbon copy and be more of the pinnacle of the West Coast, to me will always be, like we said earlier, the 1994 George Seifert West Coast offense with Steve Young. That was prolific and drove him into a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl win. And it's all about design, scheme, and execution. But it's also about quick decisions, getting your playmakers in space, and you can scheme over raw talent. And we have a lot of raw talent. We really do. And this is kind of like what they do in Kansas City. Now, if you take a look, like I said, in learning this offense, we've talked about this before. It's timing and rhythm passing. You need to identify a lot on your pre-snap, which is why I want to Tyler Linderbaum. It's about creating space and mismatches. But the caveat to all this is getting the ball out quickly, high percentage throws, creating a window so your receivers can create their own yak, and you basically are trying to confuse the defense with different formations, adding a little bit of motion. And you have, we said it before earlier, your short passing game is acting as an extension of your run game. And like I said, his system was based off of Andy Reid, who learned this system from Bill Walsh, who was then George Seifert was the disciple of. And if you don't, it's not an overly complicated system, but like I said, it fits and it checks off a lot of the box. It's a heavy spread concept. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, frequent shotgun formation. And like I said, you split your wideouts at times wide to stretch the defense vertically. But the concept is, and this is why Darnell Mooney excelled that 1 year, it's not a vertical offense per se. It's a horizontal offense because you're really trying to play within a -2 10-yard bubble, which then allows you to confuse the defense, get a bunch of quick hitters, and you don't get overly cute. That's the thing. You don't get overly cute with this, but you have multiple formations and concepts. You will have people in times that will struggle because they're going to have to learn, but that's what training camp and the preseason is for. And like I said, and then you could do what Seifert did. You could add the classic downfield attack, but the whole thing is to put your playmakers in space. And if you look at the classic West Coast offense, the staples in the routes, slants, quick outs, option routes, stick routes, get them in the flat. You have a quarterback that throws with purpose with a 1 to 3 step drop, and you let your players create after the catch, and you give them a heavy route tree so they can run different routes at different times, but you're going to have to work on the timing pattern. You're going to have to work on those 3-step drops. And like I said, it's kind of your horizontal concept is going to evolve into a vertical passing game. And then when you go to a run concept, and this is what we talked about before, like Mike Washington, not a bad fit, but with speed is a great fit. It's going to be inside, outside zone, draws and counters. Ricky Waters ran this to perfection back in 94. You don't need the best offensive line because you're going to max protect, which is where Patrick Ricard comes in, and you're going to slide your protection, and you're going to roll your pocket. It's an efficient, easy to run offense. That's, like we said, it's precision, execution, and vertical explosiveness at times in a horizontal offense. Boy, I sound like I know what I'm fucking talking about. Sign me up, coach. What time is it? If we get up to 60 likes, I'll stream on another day. Not tomorrow, but I'll head up to 60 likes and I'll stream again. Oh, it's dinner time. Good evening, Irving. All right, my brother. I'll talk to you later. Let's see here. Let me see. You know what, James Steins. Who else is looking for a right guard that we can afford? I think if you're looking right now, you're going to stick with what you got. Because right now, you might bring back. You got to talk to Greg Van Roten and make him. You got to make him feel. I love that. I saw it in the newspaper. You have to make. And this is what I love about the modern day. You have to make Greg Roten feel loved. I need love. I just need the Kango hat, and I'll do the whole I need love. But you have to make him feel loved to come back and play average. But I think that's what you're going with. AJ says some aren't smart enough to turn off the cap locks. No, James Stein just likes the cap locks. It's fine. Coaching, capable pieces, allow Dart to continue to develop by the end of 2020. The Giants should have an idea what they have. I agree. Let's see here. T-Brad says, can we trade Daniel Jones? Soon. Let's see here. Joe says, Tim makes a very good point. The last season coaching staff that was also included the GM. This is why you don't keep coaches and GM around to win now edicts. They do desperate things. They do. You nailed it. They get fucking desperate and they try to win games. And what happens when they try to win games? They're not developing talent. And that's when people are like, well, you hate Jaxson Dart. Well, it's not like Jaxson Dart's going to start and all of a sudden I'm going to stop making videos. But here's the thing with Jaxson Dart is I don't know what he is. He ran the same concept offense from Ole Miss that Lane Kiffin ran, and Lane Kiffin's best quarterback in the NFL is Matt Barkley. And they all come out of the same system. So you run a college system in the pros to try to win games because that's what your quarterback's comfortable doing. You're doing that to the disservice of your first round draft pick quarterback. That's why I keep saying they did him a disservice. They did him dirty. And now he's going to have to learn an NFL offense. So I got to see what he is. It doesn't matter that Teller was benched. Jermaine Illumina was cut by John Harbaugh. Signed a nice extension. Thanks, Charlie. No, you're right. You got to remember, he played in Baltimore for 2 years in the beginning part of his career, Jermaine Illumina, and he was cut by John Harbaugh. Charlie says, great live, man. I'm out. Smash that like button. Yeah, I gotta go too, guys. I wanted to get to 60 likes. But that's okay. We're at 59 because the Giants have 300,000 subscribers, but they only have like 1,500 people watch their live streams. So we know they buy their subscribers. That's me being sarcastic.
Warning, sarcasm. Warning, sarcasm.
The regulars will get that. Has anyone else got any comments? Any questions? Any comments? Are we at 60 yet? I want to thank the 107 people that are still watching. Greatly appreciated. I'm at 59. Can I get one more like? Can I get a what? Come on, one more like, guys. One more like. Let's do it. Come on. Let's hit the quick hitter. One more. If I don't get one more like, the Giants are only going to win 2 games this season. Giants got to steal. I love this. Giants got a steal in the Darius Washington. Last full season was in 2004. 64 tackles, 2 interceptions, 8 pass breakup, a coverage skill of 83 point. Oh, wait, we got to do it.
Stupid Giant Twitter post.
This is coming from Anthony Rivardo. The Giants got a steal in the Darius Washington 24 season. His last full season healthy, he was elite. 64 tackles, 2 interceptions, 8 pass breakups, 83.3 coverage on Pro Football Focus. Okay, can we put it in context? The Baltimore Ravens secondary in 24 was horrid. Had the worst secondary in the entire league. Okay? And that is the only starting season that Darius Washington had was in 2024. The reason he is here is because he is familiar with John Harbaugh and he's a Harbaugh guy. Oh my God. Dables and Shane were the smartest people in the box of crayons. Mr. Emrod says we have named the sound bites. That's a few in a row. You shut up, Emrod. Shut the fuck up. Fucking asked you. You're banned.
Gotta get to work. That's right. Yes.
Sorry, that was supposed to be Willy Wonka. I had to fuck up. No, I did, Millie. I did. I wrote down some things. I did write down some things, Mr. Emrod. Oh, Greg, I had surgery yesterday. That's why I missed yesterday's show and had to change my bandage and go eat. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Greg. Hopefully it wasn't anything bad. I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm answering the question before I click on it. Greg, are you all right? I mean, is it anything major? Was it just like, an outpatient surgery or something? Not that I want to get personal, but I'm going to, and I'm going to ask anyways, because my wife says I have no filter. So Washington fills out the depth chart, but he's 5'9" safety. Good, Joe. He was a guy that played at a necessity in the worst secondary in the league in 24. He played at a necessity, and he didn't even. He had played in the worst secondary in the league, and we gave him $1 million. Is he fireside Giants guy? I don't know. I was just on Twitter. Anthony Rivardo. I don't know, man. I can't get this shit to work half the time. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the fucking shit off in regards to the thing. The ads. Did 36 days. I didn't know. 36 days. Oh, yeah, it is 36 days to the NFL draft. We are going to the NFL draft We were going to bring subscribers like we do every year, but Ryan fucked it up for everyone. So everyone say thanks, Ryan, because now I don't trust anybody. So no, we're still going to bring subscribers. We're still going to bring subscribers. They have these things at the Knick games where you get to shoot and you get to go on the court and you do these games. And they have this one game where you shoot a bunch of 3-pointers, and many 3-pointers in a row you make, you get $1,000 for each shot. I always wanted to do that. So if the Knicks are listening, I'm going to be there Sunday. So if you want to pick me, I'm in section 101. If you want to pick me, I'll be the guy with the hair, because I would like to do that. I'd like to shoot. I'd like to make some 3-pointers. I was hitting some shots the other week, so I still got the range. I can still make the shots.
That's what she said.
Just scrolling through my Knicks stuff. All right. Has anyone got any questions? Outpatient surgery. So I am out and about. Okay, good. Coach D, what's up, brother? Check. Sup. Coach D, you got 60. Thank you. Coach D, were you here earlier? Because I wanted to get your assessment, but I got to leave. I wanted to get your assessment on my thought process of running the 2018 Bears horizontal West Coast offense. If you didn't, I would love to get your assessment on that. If you didn't, go back and go right and check that out. I would create bots to help you get more viewers when I'm still on my radio career, where we record all the stuff in carts. It's the other words. I'm the old guy who curses technology. Oh, you work in radio? You work in radio? I didn't know that. Do you work in radio? I would like to have a career, but I started my radio career. Oh, you started your career when they recorded stuff. The carts. Anyone that doesn't remember what the carts is, he's talking about when you had to put in a commercial, you had to do something. It's literally like a little box thing, and you have to put it in the system and hit play. So you do sound effects, you put in the system, hit play. No, I am not a disgraced 90s. The rumor always was, and I'm going to leave. The rumor always was, especially early on when I first started, that I was a disgraced radio host from the 90s in Miami. Because everyone's like, you have this voice for radio. No, I was not that. 60. All right, we're good. Joe says, Online Big Blue is the only giant stream my dog likes. Joe said over 25 years as a sports talk radio host. Well, oh yeah, Joe, you've been on. I was like, well, why don't you come on more, Joe? Because I didn't put the link in the chat because I'm stupid. I like Joe. Joe, you've been on. Yeah. Where were you with sports talk? I knew you mentioned that, but where? Where did you host your radio show? I'm curious. Are you like someone famous that I should know, but I'm stupid? Are you Joe Spano, the American actor? Are you him? Tell me. Sorry, I'm texting someone. I'm not leaving messages. I wish I was a little bit taller. Are you Spano? Are you Spano on sports? Oh, look at that. Look at that. What? Okay. The good news is I like to amuse myself. So you guys just the rest of the 100 some people just hang out. Hang out while I work. Hang out while I look up Joe. Hang out while I stalk Joe. Because that's what I do. It's Connecticut. Oh, okay. All right. Found your LinkedIn. Okay. Oh, Sirius XM, Sportsline, Yahoo Sports Radio. Wow. Cool. Well, then, Joe, why don't you fucking come on more? Are you working there now? Spano on Sports. That's a great name. That's a great name for a show. That's freaking awesome. You're also a sports handicapper? What's it? That's a great name for a show. I want a cool name for a show. I always wanted a cool nickname. I've had 2 nicknames in my life. One of them stuck with me forever, and that's T. And I always tell people, I always tell people this all the time. It's a lazy nickname, T. Because all you're doing is dropping 2 fucking letters off my name. I had to deal with that for years. Then my first 2 years in college, I was Mongo because of Blazing Saddles and the guy that hit the horse, punched the horse, Alex Karros, who was also a gambler. And you know what? And he got suspended, but also a Detroit Lion. Great. But if he was on the mighty FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com, number sportsbook in America, get that $300 back in bonus bets for 10 days if you just get those tokens. Because when I was a freshman, there was a guy that was a junior, and his name was Ogre. So we automatically hit it off. So one day someone said, "Oh, look, it's Ogre and Mongo." So I always wanted a cool nickname. Yes, Joe Spano was. Well, you're not, but he's not him. And yeah, but he was on Hill Street Blues. Okay, Tim, I'll see you next stream. Anytime you want. Fine. We're going to have a pick a day. Can you come on Sunday? We'll have to pick a day where you can come on. We can chat more. I would say I worked for Mattress Mac. I ran the gallery. Okay, there we go. I ran the gallery. Cool. I didn't know this. Look at this. I'm learning new shit every day. Coach T says tracing needs to be used in a passing game more like Scat can catch. Dart should have 2 checks downs called at the same line. Vertical tight end in the seams. Joe says I was also the community director of Westbury campus at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Wow. I got accepted into the University of Maryland School of Journalism after my college career ended, and I wanted to get into radio, and I wanted to get into sports broadcasting. And I'm a pretty good writer, and I was all excited, and I told my father, and my father says, "You just had 2 knee surgeries in 2 years," and he goes to me, "Nobody makes any money in radio or television in reference to sports broadcasting and writing. So you need to go to business school." Yeah. Thanks, Dad. Let's see here. Old Blue Eyes. Wait, that's taken. No, yeah, that's taken. Yeah. Well, he's Sunday works. All right. Well, Joe, you have. Oh, I have you on Twitter. I'll DM you later. All right, guys. It's 6:00. I appreciate everyone for hanging out as long as they did. Next stream will be on Sunday, I think. I'm definitely going to the Knicks game, but I'm going to try to do it before I leave for the next game. So make sure you stay with that. We're going to have potentially 2 guests on Sunday. A former ex-Giant who is in the top 100 of all-time Giants. Gary Reason's number 72. We had him on. This guy is a little higher than Gary. No disrespect for Gary, because like I said, I patterned my play after Gary Reasons. Yes, I'm still geeked out by that interview. So we're gonna have Joe Spano on, and a former radio host, also former director of Westbury campus of communications Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Spano and Mongo, New York Giants Straight Talk podcast sounds. Oh, this actually does kind of nice, but no one calls me Mongo anymore. When Rick left, that was Ogre. When he left, and Rick was the perfect Ogre. Rick was 6'4", like 290, but he looked like and the origin of my hair, real quick, was from college, because Rick had these blonde locks, and then one day he got a flat top, and this was a precursor. I used to have a flat top, so he got a flat top, and then I was like, well, damn, that looks cool. So I had more towards a Caesar cut. Oops, the wife is calling. Hold on, guys. The wife is calling. We're gonna have to punch out, but I had more of a Caesar cut. And then one day they were all like, well, you should get a haircut like Rick. And so that's where, and I did. And so it was 2 flat tops. I had the brown hair. He had the blonde hair. And then all of a sudden it was Ogre and Mongo. All right, guys, I got to jump out here because the wife is calling. This Tim's New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by the mighty FanDuel. Don't forget, we'll see you on Sunday.